Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening to everybody. It is showtime. Welcome, guys, back once again on the Lewis Sports Network. Back once again with another heavy hitter. Back with another banger with yet another video. So make sure as we get started, ladies and gentlemen, I just need y'all to do my favors. Make sure y'all smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure your notifications are turned on for the Lewis Sports Network. I truly appreciate you guys for taking the time to even be a part of this live stream, man. I truly appreciate it. Smash that like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button as you guys come in. So as you can see by the thumbnail, we are reliving the greatest rivalries in the history of the WWE through the Attitude Era. Let me know who is in the building, and I can't wait to get started on this. Man, I really, if you are a fan of wrestling, we got a lot to talk about, man. So again, make sure y'all smash the like button and make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, man. I appreciate it. All right. So let me just check real quick. We got 4 people watching. We got 3 likes already. And shout out to the first person in the building. And make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel, Alex Sports. Appreciate you, my friend. Shout out to Ryan. He says, hey, sorry about your channel last night, man. It was jumping. I know. The funny thing, I was able to recover the video. But for some reason, I don't know why, because nobody said nothing controversial. So I don't know why it bumped. But I did put in an appeal. So I was able to put in an appeal. So now I have to wait 6 more days until they find out apparently what's in the content that was so inappropriate, which I don't even know. But like I said, man, we're talking about the Attitude Era. And like I said, make sure you guys come up in here. No doubt, Alex, appreciate you, man. That guy's a true supporter. I mean, that dude loves the game of football, and he's also a fan of the Brooklyn Nets. So he does Hangout Sports Talk. So if you guys ever want to go check that out, make sure y'all go like his videos, show the brother some love and respect, and make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel, man, because he's got some great stuff. And again, also shout out to Ryan, man, true supporter in here. So what are you guys waiting for, man? This is the place to be when it comes to the basketball, when it comes to the wrestling. I'm going to be putting more football videos very soon. You know, I know the draft just happened, and so I'll be doing a future live stream on the NFL draft and the results, and make sure you guys pull up for that. I'm also going to get into baseball as well, so make sure you guys pull up for that. But without further ado, let's get started with the live stream. So again, as always, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So the reason I wanted to do this, and I have to thank Bleacher Report for this, they were the inspiration to the video. Ryan says, talk to Freddie Gee. He didn't know what happened. Yeah, I have to talk to him about that. He felt really bad. Yeah, no doubt. I think he put a notification in the video when it came back. So I gotta pull up. I gotta let him know what happened. If he happens to pull up, I'll let him know. All right, man. So we're talking the Attitude Era. So if you look at the Attitude Era, it's probably the greatest era in wrestling history when it comes to the WWE. Obviously, you have the era of the NWO that happened in 1996. And again, Alex, truly appreciate it. And again, you deserve it. So like I said, make sure you guys go subscribe to this channel. Also, so with the Attitude Era, as you can see the faces, we have Steve Blackman, we have Ken Shamrock, Ultimate Fighting World Champion from the UFC. Smash the like, hit the subscribe. We have the People's Champion, The Rock, arguably my favorite superstar in the Attitude Era. We have Stone Cold Steve Austin, in my opinion, the most impactful superstar who launched the Attitude Era in wrestling history for the WWE, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, beer drinking, who always thinks you're number one when he puts the middle finger up. And then we have The Game, who just celebrated, ladies and gentlemen, 25 years in the business for the WWE. That would be The Game, the cerebral assassin, the king of kings, a man who I have a lot of respect for and who I appreciated in my time growing up in wrestling. That is The Game, the cerebral assassin, Triple H. So again, smash that like button and hit that subscribe. So we're talking about rivalries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to where it says to my brand. And like you said, and as it says right here, it's all about the attitude. I could switch to Raw. There's Raw, but I want to stick with Attitude because it's the Attitude Era. So you know what I'm saying? So what we're going to do is you could name me a rivalry to start with, or I could just get the ball rolling for this. And shout out to King G. The greatest rivalry is Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, followed by The Rock and Stone Cold in his opinion. Okay. All right, man. Huh. King G already getting it started. He says, in his opinion, it's Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. Now, King G, I want you to say why. I want you to say why you think Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, followed by The Rock and Stone Cold, was the greatest rivalry. Because the crazy part is that there's going to be a few rivalries in this time that get very lost, and they get kind of underappreciated, right? Um, all right. Once again, shout out to Alex Sports, and make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. Ryan says that he loved Triple H in his second heel run with Flair and Evolution. Oh, that's definitely one of the greatest. And Evolution is arguably the greatest faction that the WWE has ever had, arguably, because of what it produced. It produced Batista, he was supposed to go to the Hall of Fame, but because of this pandemic, because of I can't even talk about it, but because of what's happening around the world, unfortunately, Batista, there was no Hall of Fame ceremony this year. And then obviously you got future Hall of Famer Randy Orton. So who is what, a 13-time world champion, and they were part of the greatest faction ever with 14-time world champion Triple H and 16-time world heavyweight champion the Nature Boy, woo, Ric Flair. So just really good times. But in terms of rivalries, I know obviously what are the big rivalries, but here's a rivalry I want to focus on that. It's cool, Alex. You know, it's all good. It's all good. It's fine. Tomoko says, and shout out to Tomoko, Dwayne is gaining some skill in acting more. To be honest, his acting really grew from, I thought his big break was probably in 2002 when he started in The Scorpion King. And then once he got that big break, because I know that he was in The Mummy Returns as well, and he had played an evil monster character. But once he got the Scorpion King, I thought when he had the lead role, I felt that that's when he took off in that 2002 film. Ryan says, I think Undertaker and Stone Cold should have been stretched out more. Yeah, I felt that the funny thing with them is that they had 3 different rivalries in the late 90s, which is weird. It's kind of weird. They had 3 different rivalries in the late 90s. They had a rivalry in 97 that was kind of short. They also had a rivalry in 98 that to me could have been a lot, could have been stretched out a little bit more. And then you obviously have the 99 rivalry when Taker is part of the corporate ministry, which originally he starts as the Ministry of Darkness. So again, man, smash the like button. Make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button as you guys come in. And whatchamacallit? Okay, so King G says it's really sad how bad the WWE has fallen with this SJW route. No offense, but women's wrestling, in my opinion, will never sell. I mean, when you look at it, to be honest with you, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some talented women in there. Shout out to Real McLovin, man. What's good? What is good, bro? Appreciate you, man, coming through. Man, let's continue to get the likes and let's continue to get that watch count up. I agree with you, King G. And I know what the WWE is trying to do with their women's revolution, and there are some talented women, especially in the NXT. But it's just I don't know, man. And the thing is that the women rivalries back then were so much better because, like I said, the storytelling was so much better. They made things much more real. But what really helped was the rivalries that the men had. And I agree with you. And it sucks because there are some very talented women, but they're just not really going to sell, especially now that they're putting them at much more in, main events. He says, my favorite rivalry is Austin and The Rock. WrestleMania rivalry is dope, but I hope that they had a back and forth. Shout out to you, man. And like I said, man, like and subscribe to the channel. It says they had a back and forth WrestleMania wins instead of Stone Cold wins 2-1 with The Rock. I mean, the crazy part was I really wish that The Rock would have won the 2001 WrestleMania to get even with Stone Cold to have that rubber match, but it ended up with Stone Cold 2 and The Rock 0. The only reason that they did it was because Austin was obviously turning heel to align himself with Vince McMahon, and then eventually the next night, Triple H attacks The Rock in the steel cage match for the WWE Championship, and then Triple H and Austin formed the 2-man power trip. I felt that it was. I'm not saying that it wasn't a successful faction in terms of how they were as heels because they were still very good. the timing of it was very weird, and the fact that Triple H all of a sudden it looked like he's gonna turn face, but then he turns heel, and I'm just like, the timing of it was very weird. And then The Rock was, going off he took off a couple of months to go film for the Scorpion King. King G says there's some talented women, and the women that are really loved by the media beyond the WWE today are Alexa Bliss. Yeah, that's true. Paige, yeah. Oh, obviously. Oh, everybody loves Paige. Mandy Rose, top of my head, and that's because they are attractive. You know what it is, man. Looks sell. And so with these women, it's about the looks. So with the looks, they sell pretty good. Ryan says, Mae Young is my favorite women's wrestler with her black chocolate, Mark Henry. Mr. Sexual Chocolate himself, Mark Henry, Hall of Famer, man. Appreciate that guy, Mark Henry. Underrated when it came to worker in the ring, and he helped provide some moments in WWE history. They get kind of lost because he wasn't as big of a star as some of the stars that you see right here in this picture. So I want to start with this rivalry. Because, like I said, this past Friday, we just celebrated Triple H's 25th anniversary with the WWE. And one of my favorite rivalries that we're talking about, before I get to the rivalry, King G says, casual fans don't want to see Bayley and Sasha Banks, two ugly women. They fail in comparison to Tori Wilson and Sable. To be honest with you, man, Tori Wilson and Sable, Bayley and Sasha, they're the better wrestlers, and they have the championships. But in terms of beauty, they're no match for these two blonde bombshells and Tori Wilson and Sable. And both of them are Playboy cover girl covers. So you can't, in terms of popularity and in terms of paparazzi and in terms of image, they can't match those guys. Shout out to JJT. He says Sasha Banks is my favorite wrestler. All right, cool. That's what's up. And like I said, guys, make sure to smash the like button and make sure to hit the subscribe, man, as you guys come in. And King says Mark Henry should have been an 8-time champ. Easy, bro. His acting was just incredible. That's the thing I didn't like about Mark Henry. And it's not Mark's fault. It has nothing to do with Mark. It more so has to do with Vince, because title runs, and it's a shame that I think the only thing that he accomplished was he was an ECW champion and that he was a world heavyweight champion, but that's the only thing he did. But he should have had more title runs. He should have had a run with the WWE championship as well. He definitely should have had that. But he didn't have it, so he really should have gotten an opportunity. Ryan says, only two wrestlers who are top class that when changing heel and face is Stone Cold to be heel and Undertaker as a babyface. You said that when changing, you mean that when it doesn't work? Oh, no. I think you're talking about Mark Henry. Well, I'm not going to say that his run should have been long, but what I'm saying is he should have had at least a couple of more titles to kind of celebrate him, because and Mark Henry's very intelligent, and what he's doing in the, in the media industry, is very, he's doing great. He's doing very well. Which is a first. And, so, all right. So getting back to Triple H and getting back to the People's Champion, The Rock. These two guys couldn't be pretty much similar. And here's how. What's so crazy about these two guys is they have similar career paths. Reason being is because, for one, they both started around the same time. Smash the like, hit the subscribe. They both started around the same time. You also had the fact that they both went into factions. Their very first championship was the Intercontinental Championship. That's how they got their career started. And then after that, once they got their career started, they were part of the two of the best factions in WWE history. Do you guys remember DX versus the Nation rivalry? DX against the Nation of Domination that pretty much dominated all of spring and all of summer of '98. Those are some really good times. I love that rivalry. And I'll answer that question in a second. So let me just continue a bit. So I'm going to ask you guys. So do you guys remember the summer of '98 and the spring of '98 when The Rock eliminates Farouk? He becomes the leader of the New Nation, and then Triple H takes over DX when Shawn Michaels loses to Stone Cold at WrestleMania. He forms the new DX, and then DX is their heels for like the first about the first month, and then once the Nation comes in, then the rivalry like just really kicks off, and it's back and forth, and it was just great stuff on TV. I remember Jason Sensation too. So I'm gonna put a pause a little bit on that, and then let me just get to this. JJT says, "What do you think of the Firefly Funhouse match?" It really wasn't a match. It was really more so. This was really more so storytelling. What I guess people really didn't want to see the match just because the fact that I'm guessing that the WrestleMania match wasn't good. And then if you're looking with Bray Wyatt, it's shout out to Richard Pimentel. He says, "We are the nation, a domination, boom, 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 nation, a domination." Shout out to Richard. Again, smash the like, hit the subscribe. So so JJT, to be honest with you, what I thought about the Firefly Funhouse match was, I know a lot of people who were rating the match had given it an A to an A- to an A+ just because it was something different. Just look at the Boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker. It was just really more so a fight. They changed the scene, and this was probably the best thing that the WWE has done in a long time, to be honest, just from a storytelling standpoint. And that's what I'm going to give it credit for, because what I saw, AJ Styles and The Undertaker in their Boneyard match was like a freaking horror movie. It was pretty much a movie. You were just pretty much doing a movie scene. So yes, I have seen Triple H and Blade Trinity, Tomoko. Yes, I have. That's the movie with Wesley Snipes. I know. Pretty good. Triple H was pretty good in that movie as an actor. He was pretty good. So yeah, JJT, to be honest with you, like the Fire Funhouse match, it wasn't really a match. It was just really more so to pretty much bury the career of John Cena, as to see how he's buried careers. So it was, the storytelling was very interesting, and then it ends up with John Cena leaving because John Cena is pursuing more opportunities in like Hollywood. He's trying to get roles. So that's how I look at it. I think from a storytelling standpoint, I think it was fine. So that's where it was, but it really wasn't a match to begin with. Let me know what your thought was on the Firefly Funhouse match. Ryan says, I mean, Stone Cold turned heel 2001 didn't work because it was just seeing himself and Undertaker as himself as a babyface. I honestly didn't like it. Some people thought that heel turn was Austin was on record in many interviews, and he stayed consistent. He regrets turning heel. He actually regrets it. That's what he has said. He says he regrets turning heel. Richard says, not a big Triple H fan because he ruined the WWE. To be honest with you, Triple H he's got very good mic skills. When he wants to, he can put a very good promo, but he got his way through the top through politics. Let's be honest. And he is married to the boss's daughter, for God's sake. So I know. Richard says, the man hooked up with Steph and everything that went crap. The man was an okay performer, but got overhyped because of Steph and Shawn Michaels. Oh, absolutely. Richard, I don't know do you remember? I don't know if people remember this, but I remember when The Rock first came in, and Shawn Michaels did everything he could to try to put down The Rock and try to bury him. One of the people that supported The Rock, Bret the Hitman Hart, who's still good friends with The Rock to this day. And he supported him and told him that he was going to be something special in the business. And I think The Rock never forgot that. So he has a deep appreciation for Bret. And this was at the time, I believe, that Bret and Shawn were having their real rivalry, not just in the ring, but off. So yeah, I feel you, Richard. It's funny because even though Edge said it on camera, it was the truth, though, what he said about Triple H in terms of how he got all the way to the top. I mean, I still remember the time that Triple H buried Booker T. I felt that Booker should have won that match at WrestleMania 19, but he got buried. And Booker should have had more world title runs in the company. He only had one. So Ryan says, I thought it was better than Nash and Hall went to WCW at the time when DX popped off sometime after. If Nash and Hall stayed when DX happened, and Richard says, 100% Bret was the man. Bret Hart gets, at times he gets, people call him, he even says that he's stiff. But what I appreciate about Bret, he's always tried to put guys over, and he had a great mind for the business. And like I said, I always appreciate the man's psychology in the ring. I mean, this guy put some dudes over, and he doesn't get the credit that he really deserves. I thought it was better than, if Nash and Hall stayed when DX happened, it would look right. Joining their clique buddies. Yeah. And this was and remember the curtain call incident when those two were on their way out and they got their quote unquote guaranteed contracts with WCW. I think I remember the rivalry between The Rock and Triple H. It was pretty fun to watch. Absolutely, Tomoko. Talking my language. Very fun to watch. Oh, yes. Ryan says, back then when the clique behind the scenes were together, Vince didn't want any faction group in the business because he thought it was bad business. I mean, just look what happened in WCW. The Asylum became bigger than what it looked. What really sucked was I felt like 96 was fine when they first formed the NWO. But then it started becoming too much because then everybody just started to join in, and it became just about a hangout for the NWO. Then you had the LWO, the Latino World Order, when they tried to remake themselves as the Spanish World Order for the NWO Black and White. Then you had the Wolf Pack. There were just too many factions forming, and it was just all too much World Order based. And then what sucked is that WCW to me didn't focus enough on trying to create rivalries in the business. So, and Eric Bischoff was just throwing out money. And Richard says that Booker wasn't going to get the shine because of the rivalry with WCW. I mean, Booker's on record as saying it. When he did a promo for promoting him against Triple H at WrestleMania, he basically said that when he first came into the company, it was going to be square from day one, that he really had to work himself to try to become a big name. And it's true because Sting, everybody knows Sting, everybody loves Sting, the Vigilante, the franchise, one of my favorite wrestlers. He said he was thinking about coming to the WWE around 2000, 2001. The issue was he saw a segment on Raw, and he said that he's always had great conversations with Vince and that Vince has always treated him well. But he said there was a segment on SmackDown, and Booker T was the WCW champion at the time. And The Rock pretty much put him in a put down with one of his sayings, as, you know, he's like, oh, who in the blue hell are you? And I remember when he told Jericho that you're famous for beating some guy named Juventud in WCW. So that's how they treated WCW, because in other words, it's like they looked at that as the little leagues. Even though the NWO was taken over, they looked at WCW as the little leagues. It wasn't even considered the big leagues by the point that The Rock, and at that point, it was already months after when Vince bought the company, when WCW was pretty much going out of business. So, you know, because The Rock was putting down a lot of WCW stars, and Sting looked at that and he's like, I don't want my character to be put down for what I've worked hard for, and then I have to start from scratch. Is like, yeah, it's not good. Ryan says Owen is very underrated. Absolutely. I hope he gets his day doing the Hall of Fame someday, but that's all going to depend on his wife. The Wolfpack. Which one did you like better, though? The Wolfpack, or did you like the NWO Black and White? And like I said, I thought that the Black and White obviously made the bigger impact. Smash the like, hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Richard says the Hart Foundation was great overall. Facts. They were great. Are you talking about the first Hart Foundation or oh, no, I think you mean in total. Gotcha. WCW didn't use Bret right. if you guys watched the Broken Skull podcast with Stone Cold and he had Bret Hart as his guest, Bret Hart says that Stone Cold was one of the people that told them not to go there because they had no idea what they're doing. And he said there was a bunch of dumb idiots in that company. And Bret Hart was saying that he could have worked with so many people. And people, if you remember, Bret had so much heat from the Survivor Series, in his controversial loss to Shawn Michaels. You bring that into WCW and it's like, yo, he could have worked with Hogan. He was saying he could have worked with Booker T. He was talking about so many people he could have worked with, and it's true. It's just WCW, they just don't have a mind. Like I said, the very few things that they got right at the time was the New World Order. Obviously, Sting going from the charismatic Sting to the Crow Sting. Obviously, the buildup of Goldberg. And I hate the fact that Goldberg is coming right now because it's just like his character does not fit in today's wrestling, especially with how bad today's wrestling is. Goldberg's character does not fit. He's too old. He can't hang with these guys. And Goldberg is known from guys who have talked about him in the back. He's not a very good coordinated wrestler, and he's known to injure. Just look at what he tried to do to The Undertaker. I believe they fought at Crown Jewel? My gosh. This dude almost injured his neck. Wolfpack, I like because it's more gang. You could look at it as like they had several gangs up in there. He hurt his back. The NWO, that was first of all my favorite. X-Pac, Nash, Hall, and Hogan. Goldberg destroyed Bret's career. Oh, I agree with that. I believe that Goldberg was the reason that Bret all of a sudden got his he had gotten his concussion, which had then led to his stroke later on. Man, that was all Nash and Scott Hall bringing the WWE click to WCW. Yeah, I give them a lot of credit. They were trying to make it as it seemed like if Hogan was the one that kind of formed it, but it was Hall and Nash. Hall and Nash were the ones to do it, and they don't get enough credit. So getting back to The Rock and Triple H real quick. So 1998, I felt that 1998 and 2000 was their best rivalries going back and forth. And the thing about their rivalries was it was an extensive rivalry. You could even say as far as even late 99 as well. A little bit in 99 when The Rock was going from the corporation to now being a singles competitor and babyface. And then Triple H trying to become a rising star with the corporate ministry. And then obviously building himself up. Shout out to Weiss who says, yo. Again, smash the like, hit that subscribe. I'm still at work. All right, cool. Appreciate it, man. Hope everything is good at work. Hope you're being safe at work and doing it, man. Shout out to Freddie G. He says, what's good, Lou, Mr. Versatile? What's up, Freddie? Freddie, I just saw your comment about what you meant last night. And I don't think you put anything that got the video shut down. I really don't know what happened. I did file for appeal on it because I don't think anybody said anything controversial. So don't feel bad about it. I don't know. YouTube is just really, I don't know what's going on with them, but honestly, nobody said anything controversial. I don't know what happened, but it's all good, bro. So I don't really blame you for that. I understand that you took responsibility, but like I said, man, I don't feel bad about it, but it's all good. Again, guys, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button for your boy, Louis Sports Network. We're talking rivalries. So like I said, I appreciate what The Rock and Triple H brought, for the business in terms of their rivalry. And like I said, their rivalry was very fun to watch from their factions. Very quickly too, might I add. And then Triple H finally rising up to becoming the star that he became. And their rivalry in 2000 for the WWE Championship was, it was great. I mean, you talked about their match at Backlash. You talked about their match at Judgment Day. That segment in the King of the Ring where you had Taker, American Badass, with Kane and The Rock going up against Triple H, Vince, and Shane. I remember that. And then I remember The Rock really becoming the man after that. So it was cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate that rivalry of Rock. And it's funny that people just focus so much on Rock and Stone Cold, and even Rock and Vince, obviously, because they're arguably the two biggest ones. But Rock and Triple H, as a kid, when Austin was not there, Got to give those guys a little. They deserve a lot of credit. And to be honest with you, they had great chemistry together in the ring. That's what made it so cool between those two guys. They had great chemistry in the ring. That's what makes it very special. I appreciate those guys. They were my childhood. Ryan says, who would you put in replace for Rikishi and Hell in a Cell? I thought he was a bad put. At least the only thing that I give Rikishi credit for was creating that moment with Taker when he chokeslammed him off the cage, giving us a Hell in a Cell moment as to making somebody famous. Richard says, man, honestly, I love most rivalries that The Rock was in. Yeah, no, like when you look at his career and you look at his history, if you look at the rivalries that he was in, it made it really cool. I really enjoy Triple H and Kurt Angle. They work well together. That's another rivalry that doesn't get talked about neither. I felt that their angle over the summer was actually one of the best and most underrated work in the company's history, especially when it involved Stephanie McMahon. I thought it was great. Tomoko has said, surprisingly, though, my favorite actor who was a former wrestler is not Dwayne, it's Dave Bautista. Yo, shout out to Dave Bautista. His acting skills have come a long way. He finally got his big break in by being Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. And ever since then, Bautista's he's produced very good movies as an actor. So major props to Dave, and he was really cool to watch. It was good to see him step up and not. Freddie says, yo, I always drop by and listen to the knowledge on wrestling. I only played the games and watched the shows, never thought about the writing, stories, and acting. Yeah, I mean, those all, they all go into it. I mean, that's what makes it, because people have always said, wrestling's fake. To a degree, it is, but the injuries are real. So they're trying. Sometimes the thing is when there's like real rivalries off the ring, sometimes wrestlers can try to intentionally hurt somebody else just because of their animosity towards them. But for the most part, wrestlers try to protect. Sometimes there's accidents, that happen that weren't intended to happen, but they do, and then they end up, hurting. Ryan says, I would have replaced Rikishi for HBK in Hell in a Cell. I would only have done that had HBK been healthy and off the pills, because unfortunately, his drug use got worse right before that he was forced to retire due to his back injury. And if HBK's back was good, then I would have said yes. And I think that his back was still not quite 100% at the time in 2000. So let me ask you guys this. Who would you have put in replacement for Rikishi at Hell in a Cell between Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock, Kurt Angle, and Triple H? And let me ask you a question also. What did you guys think of Kurt Angle in his first run as WWE champion? He arguably had the best rookie year of any superstar in WWE history. The only thing he really missed was winning the tag team championships. If he would have won that, this dude would have been a Grand Slam winner in his rookie season. No one's ever done that in WWE history. And you're talking about some of the most respected guys in the history of this business, and Kurt Angle gets all titles within 1 year. I mean, this guy won the European Championship and the Intercontinental Championship at the same time. And Richard says Ken Shamrock. It's a shame because Ken Shamrock was actually a very good worker. His issue was his mic skills, but he was a very good worker. But his mic skills were not great. Ryan says Big Show. I'm iffy on the Big Show being there. Richard says HBK was awesome, but too much of the same faction with him in there. Yeah, I mean, because if you put him in there, then you get the remake of DX again, part 2 with Triple H in there. So it's like then people are gonna think, well, politics are gonna have play in there, and Undertaker historically, up until Shawn cleaned up, was not a big fan of Shawn Michaels. He did not like him. A lot of it had to do with his drugs, his drug use. A lot of it had to do with his drug use. And then we also have to talk about, so when we talk about rivalries in the Attitude Era, we also have to talk about, The Rock. I mean, not The Rock. The Undertaker and Stone Cold. That's another rivalry. Richard says, yes, he brings that technical work, and those guys would have carried him on the mic. Yeah, because if you look at a lot of his matches were very good with Ken Shamrock. He had the body, so he had the look. I thought what he did with Stone Cold and Bret Hart, being the enforcer at WrestleMania as a special guest referee, that was great. The funny thing with that match is it didn't take anything away. It actually made it even that more fun to watch with that element of surprise. Jason coming in within the clutch. That's another one, man. Yeah, Shawn was on drugs for a large part of his career. He was on drugs in the 90s. He was up and down with it in the early to mid 90s, but once we got to late 90s, once we got to like 96, yeah, Shawn was coking, like OD. He was on drugs. Drugs, women partying. He was going nuts. Ryan says, don't want Kane. He's utilized too much. Yeah, and I think at that point he was in a rivalry with Jericho, so the switch would have been weird. Oh, man, drugs, women partying. He was going nuts. I like this one, Jericho versus The Rock. I really do like this one. This one really heated up in what? They had spotty moments in 99 and 2000, but I thought 2001, at the time that the Alliance came, and Austin had formed that, and Jericho was a tweener between a heel and a face. He was slowly turning heel, but the buildup was much more slow. Jericho, like I said, he's arguably the most underrated WWE superstar in WWE history. And I say underrated because he wasn't really looked at as always as the top guy. But, I mean, the guy won numerous championships. He has incredible mic skills. He's great in the ring. He can do it all. I mean, the man has a rock band. He's with Fozzy. It's almost like what can't he do? He can make something boring look and feel like it's something that it has to be must-see. So, yep. He says, break the walls down, walls of Jericho. And yes, Jericho is Canadian, trained in the infamous Stu Hart dungeon. Again, guys, smash the like, hit that subscribe. And once again, we're talking about greatest rivalries in WWE history in the Attitude Era. No, I love Jericho. And what he's doing right now with AEW as Le Champion is just terrific work. And he also said that he wants to be a commentator with Tony Schiavone when all this is done, when his in-ring career is over. Yeah, he was. I'm become Judas. Y2J was cool as an undisputed champ, but later was annoying. Funny thing is, he didn't even like his run. He didn't like his run. As champion, he didn't like his run. He says, I agree with Jericho being underrated. No, he is, because when you think of the WWE, the first thing that people always talk about are guys like these guys right here. Taker, Austin, Rock, Triple H, even Kurt Angle, but they really won't mention Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho is definitely, at the top. Shout out to Tyree, man. He says Stone Cold against The Rock. Yeah, I mean, that rivalry was crazy. Triple H against Stone Cold. Another rivalry. That one was really the storytelling for that rivalry, obviously The Rock and Jericho, that was great. Doesn't get enough, that rivalry doesn't get enough credit. That was great. But Triple H and Stone Cold. Triple H, I know Richard doesn't like him, and yeah, and I understand, but I have to give Triple H this amount of credit. How psychological he was, how psychological he was. It really added a lot to that story, especially with the fact that Austin ended up breaking his neck. It's controversial. And obviously, like the rivalry that they had from late 2000 to 2001 and the deep level of hate, because there's like, you could feel tension and hatred, and that rivalry was very special, and it deserves a lot of props for that one. Yeah, he wasn't bad like I said, as a worker, he's good. He's worked as good. But when it comes to him backstage politics, that's what I didn't like. But Triple H and Stone Cold was a great rivalry. Great rivalry. Especially when it also involved JR. When you talk about 99, and then you even talk about 2001 when Triple H pedigreed him on an episode of SmackDown. Richard says if Edge would have had a major push earlier, he would have fit perfect in that matchup. Are you talking about the Hell in a Cell match? Gotta mention Kurt Angle. Unfortunately, I can't mention that guy. A lot of controversy surrounding him. Stone Cold and The Rock is arguably the biggest rivalry. Probably Stone Cold and McMahon probably topped that one. Freddie says, because I remember Jericho was still going strong in like 03 or 04 when Batista and Randy Orton first came onto the scene. Yeah, no, Jericho's been strong his entire career. His whole career. Even in his WCW days. It's just, again, WCW didn't know what they were doing. So the best decision he ever made was, he left. Oh, Tari, thank you for mentioning this one. You could even add Edge and Christian in there. You got to add Edge and Christian in there. You got to add Edge and Christian. Like the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys, you got to add Edge and Christian in there. Their rivalry in terms of that. By the way, the tag team division was stacked. It was stacked in the Attitude Era. The tag team division was stacked. I just hate what he has done to the WWE now. Storylines are weak and the workers are great. Kind of ruins it. Yeah. He said, I hated Triple H, but that was his job. Triple H and Shamrock. Rivalry wasn't long enough. For me. So they, Vince kind of dropped the ball with Triple H and Shamrock. It could have probably had something, but I hated Mr. Perfect for a long time. Then I grew up and loved Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig's personality to me, it's crazy. I got the utmost respect for Mr. Perfect. Utmost respect. He says, so what is the difference between the titles, WWE and the Intercontinental Championship? Well, both of them are world titles, but the problem is that the Intercontinental title is really more so a mid-card title. And what I mean by mid-card is it's like the second best. So you're kind of, look at it this way. The Intercontinental title basically means you're the top of the food chain of the mid-card wrestlers. Basically, you're good, but you're not the best in the business overall. When you're talking about the WWE Championship, you're the best in the business. You're looked at as the best out of everybody in the company. You're the best in the business. When it comes to the Intercontinental Championship, it's different because it's a little bit more so of like the workhorse title in the fact that it's defended a lot. And there were a lot of great Intercontinental Championship matches. I feel like the quality of the Intercontinental Championship matches have been much more than the WWE Championship matches, to be honest with you. There's been a lot when it comes to quality. And the fun thing is a lot of guys who became world champions, Freddie, for example, they all started as Intercontinental Champion. that championship, well, I can't say that about The Undertaker because he's been nothing but world titles. Rikishi did win the Intercontinental title, but he was never going to be really serious as a guy to be a world champion in the WWE. I'm sorry. It wasn't going to work with him. But when you look at Triple H, when you look at The Rock, when you look at Stone Cold, and when you look at Kurt Angle, all these guys won Intercontinental titles. So basically, that was the setup for them to become much more bigger in the business, especially if they had what it took to be the guy, and if it was their time to be the face of the company. So that's how you got to look at it. Ryan says Team 3D, Edge and Christian, and Hardy's had bet. Yo, I love the tag team rivalry. Those three teams dominated from January. Well, actually, Edge and Christian and the Hardys actually started their rivalry in October of '99. So their rivalry pretty much lasted almost 2 years. The Dudleys came in late '99. They came in early 2000 to kind of form that triangle rivalry between those three teams. But they were so much fun to watch, and I love their ladder matches. Do you guys remember the triangle ladder match in 2000 that kind of set the bar? And then on top of that, then they had their tables, ladders, chairs match in SummerSlam. And then they had the very next one, TLC 2, at WrestleMania 17, which is, in my opinion, the greatest WrestleMania in WrestleMania history. WrestleMania 17, that was an unbelievable card. You couldn't have done it any better with WrestleMania 17. I'm sorry, no WrestleMania, in my opinion, in WrestleMania history for the WWE, none match the card that was on that night, in my personal opinion. Some of the best matches. Oh, thank you for mentioning this one, Tari. Undertaker and Kane. This one doesn't get enough credit. This rivalry does not get enough credit. Because when you look at the characters, usually characters like that, a rivalry like that wouldn't last too long. But you have to get kudos for the acting of, rest in peace, Paul Bearer, Taker, and then obviously Kane, Mr. Glenn Jacobs, who is now the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee. But you got to give all three of those guys credit. They helped the Attitude Era. No question about it. I love their rivalry. I loved it. That's another underrated rivalry that doesn't get enough credit. We focus so much on the megastar of Rock and Stone Cold, but Taker and Kane, great rivalry. Still remember the Inferno match in Unforgiven, and then the WrestleMania match the month before that. But it was a great rivalry. The mic work was great. All of the storyline itself was just unbelievable. Doesn't get enough credit. Man, I hated Christian. Then when Edge became a star, then I low-key started liking him again. Edge is another guy who's underrated. I know everybody knows Edge, but when it comes to Edge's career, that's another underrated superstar. Yeah, that rivalry was great, Hardy's, Dudleys, but they didn't get much work together. Dudleys got buried a bit to Raw for the WWE. They did. Edge and Christian, to me, the Dudleys were actually more buried than the other two teams. They got more. The WWE and mostly pretty much WWE fans paid more attention to those two teams. Edge and Christian for their humor, and then Jeff and Matt for their, high risk taking. Oh, Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon. The rivalry, in my opinion, that launched the Attitude Era between those two. He said, well, Edge, I never liked Christian. All right. Yeah, D'Lo Brown versus Pugh. Who's Pugh? Trying to remember that. Oh, wait, that's not Draws I think you're talking about, right, Jason? So the Intercontinental are the mid-tier stars. Yeah, those guys are known as the mid-card. But there's some guys who were mid-tier stars that you could have put in the main event for that belt that Kurt Angle's wearing on the right side of his shoulder. So, gotcha. Best IC champ, in my opinion, is Mr. Perfect. Hey, there's no question. Hey, there were a lot of great Intercontinental champions. A lot. Mr. Perfect was one of them. So, and like I said, I got the utmost respect for that guy. Edge speared the hanging Jeff Hardy. I remember 20-foot ladder, WrestleMania 17. Oh, yes. The greatest WrestleMania of all time, in my opinion. Mr. Perfect is the best IC champ. I mean, honestly, could say that. Goldberg against Gilbert. Oh my God. Oh, who? Oh, come on, Deborah. You know the puppies, puppies. So I remember Jerry always puppies, puppies, Jr. Puppies, right? Um, so Richard says, man, honestly, the best rivalry to me back then was The Undertaker and Mankind. You know what's crazy? Richard, now that you mentioned that, that's another rivalry that doesn't get enough credit. And their rivalry started in '96, but then you look at their Hell in a Cell match in '98. It was right in the very beginning of the Attitude Era. To be honest with you, that match is more famous in terms of their matches. That's their most famous match. In my opinion, the best match that those two had was probably their Buried Alive match in late '96. I would say for me, their best match between both of those guys, between Taker and Mankind, was the Buried Alive match in '96. I thought that was great. You could even say the Boiler Room Brawl. That's another one. That's another one. Okay, Droz, got you. All right. Droz broke his neck in that D'Lo Brown match and still paralyzed. I know. I remember. Wait, didn't he pass away? I think he passed away. I think I remember that he passed away. I believe. Unfortunately, I think he passed away. Freddie says, what did y'all think about JBL and his character? When he was with Farouk and then when he became JBL? No, it's a great character. I mean, JBL cracks me up every time when he did his promos. I enjoyed his rivalry with Eddie Guerrero. I think it was a good rivalry. You have his rivalry with John Cena. That's when Cena, let's be honest, that's when Cena became the 5 Moves of Doom Cena, pretty much. I don't want to say it like that, but that's when Cena's popularity really went up there once he became the champion. So you got to thank JBL for that in some sense. He says New Jack. Oh yeah, I know New Jack. I actually saw New Jack recently on a podcast, on a video podcast in quarantine. New Jack still looks the same. Ryan says that the Hell in a Cell I thought was trash was the Undertaker and the Big Boss Man. It's actually the worst Hell in a Cell match ever, me personally. Any Hell in a Cell match that wasn't that great is definitely better than that one. The worst part is they put that match at WrestleMania. You can't put if you're going to put a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania, you need to put a better opponent for Taker. Big Boss Man was not it, bro. I can't believe Vince even thought about that idea. So based on popularity is what belts you can go after. Yeah, because it depends on how you are with the fans, with the fan base. And the thing is, sometimes you can either look at it this way. You can either be convincing enough to the office that they could put you in a main event spot, or let's say, you know what, you have the potential, but you're just not there yet. So I think that we need to build you up slowly. As some people look, but then there's other people who actually had the potential to be greater, but then because of politics, they don't become anything in the business and they make them like if they were pretty much nothing. So it really depends. It depends. And it always depends on who the office likes. And Vince has always been like that. Look at it this way. He passed away, bro. Yeah, this was a while ago though. Because I'm forgetting. I'm like, wait, Droz? I'm like, yeah, he passed away. I believe he passed away during the Attitude Era. I believe so. I believe he passed away during the Attitude Era. Just search it up on YouTube and look it up. I believe he did. He says they did great work together, man, but those matches destroyed Mick Foley. Yeah, it killed his body to the point that he had to retire early. He retired at only 34 years old. The Hell in a Cell match to me more so destroyed his match than anything because his body was a little bit more durable just a couple of years prior. But I thought he was really never the same after that. I mean, he still wrestled and all that, but it was just his body was pretty much done at that point. Oh, yeah, I remember the Blue Meanie. Cena's overrated. You could kind of say that. Eddie Guerrero, the big dog, I forgot about him. Yeah. Eddie was fun to watch. It's unfortunate what happened to him. Yeah, no, that's the thing. Well, based on what Vince says, because HBK was huge when he won the IC. Yeah. But also HBK was also doing politics in there too, especially when he won his first title. That was when HBK he was okay, but then he started to drug himself up during that time, and he was not in the best mind frame in '96. He wasn't. And guys who probably should have won the title before that, I look at the thing with Vader and SummerSlam. That match was not good. Shawn was very sloppy in that match too, and I could tell how angry he was. Shawn was not in a good place in '96. I feel like that the Shawn Michaels Mankind match is correct. They only fought one time, but that match that they had for the WWE Championship at I think the match was in Philly. I think it was in Pennsylvania. It was in September. It was In Your House Mind Games. I remember that was In Your House 10, and I think 10 or 11. But that was great. That was one of the best championship matches that I can remember. Yeah, I remember when Cena started. He started as a white rapper. Oh yeah, Mr. Mark Wahlberg, Eminem wannabe Cena. People respect him more as Thugonomics. They don't like the nation leader that he became. I didn't forget about Eddie. He's just really close to, yeah. I would book the Taker, Triple H, and Goldberg with Piper as special guest when Goldberg was at Raw 2003 and Taker was still on Raw for the World Heavyweight Championship. How about this? Now that we're talking about booking? So they're talking about possibly that there's still a possible manner that Sting and Taker could be booked. And before I answer that and continue, oh wait, triple threat I booked would be at WrestleMania. Would it be in the Hell in a Cell, or would it just be a regular triple threat match for the world title? Triple H said, yeah, he did, and it was from an overdose. Freddie says, so what do you think? Wait, Rikishi passed away? Okay, cool. I thought he did. Okay, so there must have been controversy. All right. Freddie says, so what do you think is the greatest wrestling game of all time, or top three if you can't decide? It's tough for me because I haven't played wrestling games in a long time. Some people would probably look to some of the earlier stuff. I mean, I really liked SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, which was on PlayStation 2. I feel like, in my opinion, that's the greatest wrestling game for me of all time. That's just me personally. There's obviously like No Mercy 2000. That one was good. The early SmackDown ones. The last wrestling game I actually had was SmackDown versus Raw 2007. I actually never bought another SmackDown game after that because I feel like the games are just gonna pretty much just suck after that. And for those who are fans of of wrestling video games, they canceled. 2K announced that they canceled WWE 2K21. So it's not happening. It's not happening this year. So they're gonna wait for next year. So if you were hoping that 2K21 was coming out this year, 2K announced that they canceled that due to what's going on. I remember Raw versus SmackDown. I thought that was good. I thought that was an underrated game, Raw versus SmackDown. It didn't get enough. That was the one I believe that had Vince's eyes. One was red and one was blue. That doesn't get enough credit. All right, Hell in a Cell, Raw, SmackDown. Tomoko says, hey, Louis, can you subscribe to my other one if you could be so kind? Gotcha. Yeah. Oh no, of course. I'll definitely go on there. I'll definitely go on there to subscribe. The game was terrible. Which one? Yeah, I've seen the cancellation. Uh, could go into the crowd. I think the wrestling games, you should create your own matches rather than what's listed on there. I would love to do that. There was a game where you could do that. I forgot which one it was. I do remember playing, what was it? I think it was WCW NWO Revenge at the time that was out on Nintendo 64. I enjoy those, especially doing all those championship tournaments, like when all the championships were there. They were cool. I remember struggling so much to try to get the finishing move, and I was finally able to get it when you have to push the right stick, the right joysticks you could put it in any direction once you got your special. I remember using Goldberg so much in that game. I used him and probably Sting. They were probably the only two guys I probably used more than anybody in that game. Yeah, I seen the cancellation. 2K is making a playground arcade type of wrestling game. What's the name of it? Really? What's the name of it? Tari says D-Generation X is one of my favorite groups. Oh yeah, definitely one of my favorites, one of the most controversial and one of the most successful and entertaining groups of all time. D-Generation X, absolutely. So we have, I feel like that The Undertaker and Stone Cold was a rivalry that doesn't get enough credit as well. Their rivalry was kind of pushed in different stretches, which is weird. Because they dominated all of late spring to summer of 98. Even though they were tag team champions together at the time. And then their rivalry just kind of went all the way down, all the way to December. It took a brief break, and then it resumed in like May. And then it lasted from May all the way to like July. They had a little brief stint in August, but it didn't work out. So it was weird. It was weird. I thought Taker and then they had another renewed rivalry in 2001. So I don't know. It's strange though. Definitely strange. Let me see. I mean, there goes the Big Show. Do you honestly think that he would have been a good fit for that Hell in a Cell match? Something just tells me no. Here's another rivalry that doesn't get enough credit. And I thought it could have potentially be something else. Bam. Do you guys remember that? It's a shame that it was short because it was actually very good. Actually very good. Road Dogg and Gunn, man. BS, those preppy school jocks. Ryan says, this is real old school, man. I had a wrestling game on the floppy disk. Oh, wow. Tyrese says, Sable and Jacqueline. What sucks about Sable is she can't wrestle. She was a beautiful face, but she can't wrestle. Jackie was the real wrestler. Jackie's one tough chick. Undertaker has the best entrance of all time. You can make the case that he does. It was a WCW game on a floppy disk. Really? I did not know that. Did not know it was a game on a floppy disk. I remember playing the WCW NWO one on the cartridge that you had to blow on the bottom in case if it didn't work, and then you have to put it back in. I mean, today's kids don't understand. They don't. Y2J has the best entrance. Man, if you want to put it that way, you could. I don't know the name of it, but it's releasing on this generation of consoles and not the new one after they announced the cancellation. I'm going to check, though. All right, cool. And Richard says Sable can't wrestle at all. She cannot. She is horrible. She's fortunate that she was able to go on the cover of Playboy and be the pretty face that she was because she cannot wrestle at all. Rio says N64. Man, that man Dale Jason, that man loves Jericho. I remember that game on the floppy disk. Think what you want. China paved the way for women's wrestlers in the Attitude Era. No, I know people have some things to say about China, and rest in peace to Joni. But China did some very unprecedented things in the WWE. She did some unprecedented things. Yo, sorry, you couldn't even touch that joint. You couldn't even touch him. Oh, he calls it WWE 2 Oh, wait, I think I have seen that. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about, Freddie. Got you. Um, yeah, man, I think no, China is I know China is gonna get flax, and I know what China. Sunny was horrible. Yeah, Sunny was horrible. Oh my God, another pretty face, but horrible. Miss, I remember her and her thing with Sean, and obviously with her husband Chris Candido. That was another controversial thing going on. And I know Tammy Stitch, real name, is on record as saying that she was not very fond of black men. That's what she said. Jason says to hit the thumbs up. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
You remember sunny days back in the days? I believe that was that Raw segment in '97, and HBK had brought it up. I believe it was about 4 years ago. I think almost 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Yes, sir. Who could forget? Who could forget him, Ryan? Yeah, man. That's all politics, man. It's pretty much, man. It's a part of life. It's a part of life. When you look at the politics, when you look at racism, does play a part. And with some of these guys getting, getting recognition, He says when Sid broke his leg, I remember. Yeah, I saw that. That was gross. Sid, I'm gonna say this, man. Sid looked really good when it came to his size, his stature. He was not a great worker. I will say that, but he did have some skills, though. The fact that he can niff up at 6'9" against Sean at the Survivor Series, but I was like, damn, Sid is low key, kind of athletic, but he was not a great worker though. It's crazy. It almost felt like the Dudleys were putting everybody through tables every single week, man. I remember starting with the Hardys, then they put. Y'all remember Terry Runnels, former wife of Dustin Rhodes, and how they put her through a table, as they call her, what the horny little she devil. So I remember that. Ron Simmons was champion in the NWA, but he was frowned upon from Flair. Yep. I'm surprised Ron didn't even mention that in his conversation with JBL. I'm surprised, but he has talked about he did talk about racism. JBL, it's funny because JBL talked about it a lot when he had his conversation with him, and those two have been best friends for over 20 plus years. And JBL has known Booker T for, I believe, now almost 3 decades. Crazy. he was strong. He just couldn't sell blows. Yeah, that's the thing. Because I noticed even when the funny thing is, Richard, when Kevin Nash hit him, he couldn't even sell it. And I'm like, he's your same size, but he couldn't sell it. So what is this? Shout out to 6 foot 200. And he says the Rocket Stone Cold was my favorite. Appreciate you coming through. Yeah, the Rocket Stone Cold, man. And now it's the PG era. Wait, so what is this era of wrestling called now? If you keep up with it, it's the PG era. This is what it's called now. It's the PG era, pretty much. I'm surprised they even let them curse from time to time just to try to keep the rivalry. No, it's PG. It's not even PG-13. It's just PG. And 6 foot 200. So there you go, man. As you guys can see right here on the screen, The Rock. There goes my man Shane McMahon, man. Silver Spoon Shane. You know what they used to call Shane back in the day? Shane, oh, doom, doom. Just can't say it on YouTube, but you know. Shane, oh, I got a lot of respect for Shane McMahon. What makes me laugh about Shane, though, is every time he goes to the top of whatever, whether he's climbing a Titantron or a damn cage, always doing his little prayer, and then he's always flapping his wings like a domestic bird as he's about to drop on somebody, whether he lands on somebody or he misses. I'd be cracking up, man. I'd be cracking up. But shout out to 6 foot 200, man. Smash the like, hit that subscribe button, man, for your boy Louis Sports Network. And Monday Night Raw against SmackDown currently, but it's not even really Raw anymore. Ryan says Stacy Keibler on Team 3D was, oh my goodness! I still remember the time that she pulled up her shorts. She pulled up her shorts, and they just showed that very nice, fine, bodacious booty of hers. I remember how mesmerized Bubba Ray. I forgot what match it was, but Bubba Ray was so like mesmerized, man. It was crazy. Like, and I was like, yo, I would be staring at that. Yo, she has some of the most amazing legs, though. Whew. Stacy has some amazing legs. I know now Stacy's married and she has a daughter now. So I remember when she dated George Clooney, but you know how George is. He can't keep one girl. Player. That's right, my man Shane O'Mac. Shane McMahon flops were all-time great. Yeah, yo, every time, yo, I swear to you, every time he used to climb up something, bro, he always take his leg, take them, and man, he would just flip them like that, like. And I'm like, are you trying to fly, or are you trying to land? Like, yo, make an elbow drop look nice or something, man. But you like you trying to fly, or you were trying to turn on your you were trying to turn on the machine, but the machine all of a sudden, like the arms of the machine it tried to spin, but it couldn't because the batteries ran out, or there was kind of like a short circuit or something. It was funny. But yeah, Stacey Keibler was gorgeous, man. She was one of the prettiest divas ever. I call her underrated. She's an underrated diva. I hope, which is why I'm kind of upset that the Bella Twins are going in to the Hall of Fame, even though there wasn't any Hall of Fame. But the Bella Twins, they really didn't accomplish anything. I mean, at least with Nikki, she won 2 women's championships, 2 divas titles, but Bree didn't accomplish anything. And Bree's the better wrestler than Nikki. Nikki got better in the last couple of years, but Bree's the better wrestler. But those two really didn't accomplish anything in their time. So I'm just amazed that they're going in. And the crazy part is they're both pregnant at the same time. Shane always looked like he getting smacked to death. Yo, for real. He jumps like 2 feet per punch. I thought sometimes Shane kind of oversold at times. Not always, but sometimes. Vince, to me, might be the greatest character. His facial expressions were probably the best I've ever seen. And this guy's the owner of the company. He probably has some of the best facial expressions ever. And he was the face of the company. New nickname, alert, D'Lo Brown and George Bobblehead Clooney. Oh, man, that Ryan. Tyree says, y'all remember how much they used to push Trish Stratus? Yo, facts. It's crazy how much Trish got pushed. Vince was funny. Yeah, man. Vince, listen, Vince probably has more moments than any person ever. Yeah, Connor used his walk, and the funny thing is, with Connor using Vince's walk, then other people were using it and they were calling it the Conor McGregor walk, and I'm just like, yo, I said, Connor's trying to be Vince so bad, and then I remember Marcus Gasol decided to use Vince's walk, and yes, Freddie, the Hardy Boys were legit. It's funny, they were my favorite tag team during the Attitude Era. Other than Edge and Christian, uh, I love the Hardys. They were freaking. It was like It's funny. Like for some reason, people are like, you know what? I'm not a fan of rock music, but I love their rock star gimmick because they felt like rock stars. It was cool. It was cool. It was cool. Favorite facial expression of Vince was when he saw his boy and Triple H double rock bottom through the announce table. Oh yeah, was that I think that was Backlash of 2000. And then Tyrese, like, y'all remember when they used to bring on the guest? Oh, the guest general manager for every week. Yeah, that joint was. I felt like it was kind of corny, to be honest with you. It was cool to see some stars there, but it was corny. For me, for me. Uh, what I don't like about today's product is Vince does not focus on trying to develop the younger stars. The creative writing really sucks. And he continues to bring part timers to hold championships that nobody really wants to see. I don't want to see no more Brock Lesnar. He had his time. I'm done with him. Yes, I get it that he's a big money draw and all that, but it's just like Brock is boring now. My favorite Brock Lesnar was 2003, 2002, 2003. Brock can do so many things at that time. That Brock Lesnar's gone. He's older, and it's like he's boring. He's not fun to watch for me. And the thing is, anytime anybody takes the belt off of Brock Lesnar, don't you see that they're so happy? But then and that's why with Drew McIntyre, I'm wondering how long is he going to be champion before people get tired of him? Because anytime you take the belt off of Brock Lesnar, everybody's cheering. Everybody, woo, they're like, yeah, man, like finally, we're gonna get some. But we're gonna see. I mean, look what happened with Kofi Kingston once he beat Daniel Bryan. He had the field goal story. People felt he held the championship a little too long, more than he was supposed to. And then he gets disrespected when Brock Lesnar beats him in 5 seconds. And I said, I don't mind Kofi losing, but you don't disrespect him like that. And it's almost kind of like if looking at that, I'm like, oh, Kofi's championship run was pretty much a fluke, you know? So it wasn't really believable. So, and I still think that it just once again stems back to this whole issue with blacks being champions. Because if you look at The Rock, and you can't take that away from him, but it's like it looks like he mostly resonates with his Samoan heritage. And if you look at Roman Reigns, you look at the Usos, you look at Nia Jax, you look at Rikishi, you look at Yokozuna, you look at Alpha and Sika, you look at Jimmy Superfly Snuka, High Chief Peter Maivia. Yeah, I'm taking it back there. And then obviously you got Rocky Johnson, but it's like when you hear everybody else that I just named, that joint is full of Samoans. Oh, who could I forget? Obviously Rikishi, but who am I forgetting? Oh, Samu. Can't forget about Samu. Ryan says, remember when Stone Cold drove the beer truck to the ring and sprayed the corporation? One of my favorite segments ever. Funny as hell. And the acting that Vince did was genius. The acting that Vince did was genius. Pretending that he was swimming in a puddle of beer, that was great. That finishing move that Brock Lesnar had was nice. The F5, yeah, it's still nice. I'm just saying that Brock doesn't really wrestle anymore. That's just it. You know why the championship wins are stale? It's because of the Cena effect. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. It's true. I mean, just take a look at Charlotte Flair. Very talented, but she's pretty much become the face of the women's division. So Vince is just going to keep putting the title on her. As a matter of fact, she's pretty much the John Cena of the women's division. You can't even say Ric Flair. Oh, Haku, that's right. Thank you for mentioning him, Haku. That's right. He's part of that heritage too. So thank you for that, Ryan. Tyrese says also Stone Cold cementing Vince's car was epic. Oh, that was, I think, in October. That was the time that Vince, quote unquote, broke his foot. Lesnar blows through his competition. Yeah, that's what I don't like about it. And the thing is, sometimes he blows off his competition off of guys who can actually wrestle. You know, that's the thing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually about to stop the stream. This has been a very good one. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Don't just go yet. I just wanted to put that picture up right there to show you, you know, what these guys mean. And what I'm going to do next time. Did you hear about the Haku fight story? I did not. Let me know what happened. Please let me know what happened. And what I'm going to do once again, ladies and gentlemen, smash that like, hit that subscribe. Y'all remember Mankind messing with Vince at the hospital? Oh, that was the debut of Mr. Sacco. That was the debut of Mr. Sacco. You guys don't have to, but if you want to, you guys could donate in the PayPal, as I put the link in. Yeah, but I do remember that. It's, you know, like I said, these are great times. What I'm going to do next time, ladies and gentlemen, for my next WWE Attitude video is going to be the best matches of the Attitude Era. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to give me a list of matches that you would like for me to review as the best matches, and then we could actually rank them from the worst to the best. Even though they're all great, you know, definitely. Then we could probably do a top 10. We could do a top 10, top 15, top 20, you know, things like that. So, but definitely no. And like I said, if you guys have, there is my PayPal right there. If you guys would like to, you guys don't have to, of course. Yeah, it's optional. And also make sure you guys come through for the next video, which is going to be Kobe against LeBron. So we're going back to basketball again. So make sure you guys pull up for that one. We will be back on that one in just about an hour. So make sure you guys pull up for that one. So like I said, man, let me just look in the comments real quick. Tyrese says the Rock and Undertaker match was underrated. Which one? Which one? Because I know the Rock and Taker fought a few times. Ryan says a brawl went off, and Haku went through many polices and got a hold of the guy who messed with him and put him in the finger hole. Oh, wow. I did not know that. Didn't know that. Did that happen? Did that happen in the locker room? Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know about that. Wow. And Ryan says he'll be there. Appreciate that. Wow, that's pretty crazy. I didn't know that about Haku. All right. So definitely with Kobe and LeBron, we definitely got a lot of narratives to, and it was at a bar? Okay, got you. Cool. With Kobe and LeBron, we got a lot of narratives to eliminate between those two. Like I said, their careers are much closer than people really give it credit for. You could even decide who's better. It doesn't matter. Booker T's brother was there, Stevie Ray. Didn't Harlem Heat get it? I think the Harlem Heat are in the Hall of Fame for the WWE, I believe. They are in the Hall of Fame for the WWE. And like I said, I'm glad Booker T was in there because Booker T is another underrated superstar in history, in wrestling history. This guy won so many world championships, but he proved not only he'd be a great wrestler, but he can also be a great entertainer. The Rock against The Undertaker in 2000. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So this is your boy Louis back with another one. I want to thank everybody for coming through for this one. Definitely make sure, man, if you are a fan of the wrestling game. Make sure you guys pull up, man, to continue for more wrestling content. I'm going to be coming with AEW. Hopefully, I want to do a live stream of AEW, so I'm definitely going to do that. Definitely for sure in the near future. But this was great. Shout out to everybody who pulled up. Shout out for everybody giving their wrestling knowledge. A lot goes into the company. These stars put their lives on the line, traveling 365, for the company that they love because they love what to do and they love to entertain. And I do remember Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio. Do remember those guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to put an end to the stream. Thank you for coming through. As you guys can see, my PayPal is there. I appreciate everybody for coming through. And as always, man, a dose of the Attitude Era. Next one, we're going to be reliving the greatest matches of the Attitude Era. So make sure y'all pull up for that one. I also want to do a WrestleMania one. I might even do it kind of like a WrestleMania tournament, for best matches. I think that one would be pretty cool. I want to do that. So, again, appreciate everybody for coming through. Make sure y'all pull up a little bit later. Appreciate Tari. It says thank you for another great video. No doubt, bro. And like I said, guys, make sure y'all smash the like. Let other people know about the video. Oh, and can you guys do me a favor? Can you guys post these videos? Like, for example, this Attitude one right here that I did tonight. Can you post it on Reddit? Put it on reddit.com so that other people could be able to see the videos. So all you have to do is just make sure that when this video is up, fully put up on my channel, just share it because you'll be able to share it once you go to the video. Just do that and then make sure you guys share it to Reddit when it pulls up. That way other people can see the video because I definitely want to get more people in here. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna do my homework with this WrestleMania stuff. Gonna put some matches together, and I'm gonna make it as a WrestleMania tournament, kind of like to see which one is the greatest WrestleMania match. So I gotta put a lot of them up, and so we're gonna have a description. If anybody wants to pull up, I will gladly give you like an invite, and we can definitely talk. So Richard, Ryan, Tyree, everybody else, Jason. If you guys want to pull up, you just let me know. When I do my next wrestling video, I definitely would do that. Just let me know, but I'm definitely going to do that. So like I said, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Lewis with another one. As always, we already know, go by the 3L models on my channel, and that is pounded with your chest 3 times to say 1, 2, 3, live, laugh, love. Thank y'all for watching. I will see you guys for the basketball later in about an hour. Kobe against LeBron. Make sure y'all guys pull up for that one. It is going to be another good one. Like, subscribe, share. And like I said, when the video is up, make sure you guys share the video on Reddit. If you guys can do me that favor, make sure y'all share it on Reddit. Let me know if you guys have done it like in any of my videos. Just comment down in the comment section, or you can even comment when this pulls up, all right? But once again, this is your boy Lewis with another one. Deuces. I will see you guys later. Take care.